This is The Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Dollar Car Rental Studios, it's The Ramsey Show, where debt is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. I am Dave Ramsey, your host. We invite your calls nationwide, toll-free. The number is free, and some say the advice is worth exactly what you pay for it. The phone number, 888-825-5225. That's 888-825-5225. So I have had the pleasure of spending the morning with Ramsey Foundations in Personal Finance, Certified Financial Coaches, and they have done all kinds of things. So I've been in here learning all week. I'll be here most of the week learning. We've got an enrichment series going. We have several thousand coaches across America, and people with big old hearts and big old brains both to help you with your finances. And I'm coaching them through and giving them some ideas of stuff I used to do back in the day and lots of things Ramsey is doing today to do one-on-one coaching and to help someone change their lives. And it occurred to me that some of those lessons that we're talking to those guys about are probably good for some of our audience, some of our listening audience as well. Here's the thing that we discovered that is a huge difference maker for you. Now, I get tons of people that don't like Dave Ramsey because there is a segment of people in our culture that don't like to be told that they can win. If I tell someone that is hell-bent on being a victim that they can win, they don't like it. It makes them mad. Don't tell me I can win, because then that takes away all my excuses. It takes away the fact that I might have to deal with the person in my mirror. And if I convince you that your category, whatever category you have stuck yourself in, I'm skinny, I'm fat, I'm man, I'm woman, I'm black, I'm white, I'm purple, I'm pink, I'm Latino, I don't know what I am, I'm from the north, I'm from the south, I have this or that. I don't know what your thing is, but I can tell you after 30 years of doing this, I've met one just like you who made it. And if you want to live in the soup of your self-pity and in the soup of your victimhood, you're going to not like Dave Ramsey. So personal finance is 80% behavior. It's only 20% head knowledge. And once you get that dialed in, then you're in a place to go, okay, yes, there's outside variables. Yes, sometimes there's mean people in the world. Yes, sometimes there's racists. Sometimes there's sexists. Sometimes there's a whatever-ist. There's jerks and foolish and ignorant people everywhere. They're all around us. And yet, it's still your job to control what you can control, and they're not one of the things you can control. You can control the person in your mirror, and then you become successful. Ta-da! Is it easy? Well, crap, no. If it was easy, we would not recommend successful people. So, last summer, I guess it was last summer, we had at our Entree Leadership event one of the sharks from the Shark Tank, and he and some of his folks and some other friends of mine all got together at my house for a big dinner afterwards. We ended up sitting on my deck and talking until the wee hours of the morning and became, that night, lifelong friends. I'll just tell you, I just love this guy. And I heard he was doing a new project, an Audible project, and I got him on the phone because I want you guys to know about it. So, America's Shark, you got to love him. Daymond John is with us. Hey, my friend, how are you?
What's up, brother? I love what you were saying as I just tuned in, and yes, it was an amazing experience being with you and your family and everybody. So really good to hear from you, man.
Well, it's good to hear from you. I'm excited about this project. So you're going to tell people how you built a $6 billion brand called FUBU. We get to see you on the Shark, but that's small potatoes compared to FUBU. And you did this, man, started in, $40. You are a rags to riches story, and you overcame some crap, without a doubt. to do that. I mean, you got misunderstood, abused, and betrayed and everything else and still pulled it off, and which normally happens to all of us, but sometimes people think that line of success doesn't include that much manure, but it did in your case, it did in my case, for sure. That's one of the reasons we became fast friends. But talk about this new Audible original about founding FUBU. What are you talking about in this?
Yeah. So the Audible original there is no book to this that has now become an Audible. This is purely an Audible original, greatly produced. It is talking about my days that I founded FUBU, what I went through, all the things and all the things that happened to me, good, bad, or ugly. A lot of the behind-the-scenes stories, such as, you start having money come around. There's bad people and good people that come around. I think the thing, though, that for your listeners that they can learn from is the community that was built. The same way, we're seeing too many communities that are fighting because they're apart. We're not getting enough of the good stories of people like who listen to your show. They couldn't care less about other people's color, gender, and race and all that other stuff. It's about communities you build and really how we ended up growing and how I made a ton of financial mistakes, a ton, meaning closing FUBU 3 times from 89 to 92, running out of the first $100,000 that I had and almost being homeless, and then blowing around $20 million when I first made money. And I think that's important for people to learn, too, because, fiscal education and responsibility is something that you learn every day. You keep growing. There's no way to just arrive at it. And I think that a lot of your listeners can absolutely take away from those big mistakes that I made. And thank God I'm still here after making those mistakes.
What was the best financial decisions, the best 3 decisions, best 3 habits or disciplines around money that you developed that you attribute to being able to stay on top of it?
I think living within my means and understanding that. I think understanding credit. And I also think probably in general understanding how money works from a taxes perspective, from interest, and understanding how to allocate it accordingly. And I think all 3 of those really kind of stay in tune and align with each other. But you're going to say 3. I think there's going to be the 4th one is also the investment, being able to not only have to go out and work for my money, but letting my money work for me. And not taking as many chances as, I took in the past because I had money. I made my most ignorant or my most uneducated decisions was when I had the most money. That's when I made the biggest mistakes.
Well, you kind of get fat and sloppy. We all do, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like, that little bit don't matter. That little bit doesn't matter. I got it. And all of a sudden you're like, holy crap, I don't got it.
How many of the shark deals are paying you money right now? Are you still making a profit on?
I would think that around 3 out of 10 I make a profit on. Probably 2 out of 2 out of 10 are kind of the kind of trying to figure out who they want to be when they grow up, and then the other 5 out of 10 they just didn't work out. They I don't want to talk bad about the entrepreneur. Maybe it wasn't their time, but they made bad decisions or. They didn't educate themselves enough. But
it's a 3-hour Audible project called Founding FUBU. You can listen to it at DaymondJohn.com. Is that right, Daymond?
Absolutely.
All right. Be sure and check it out, guys. This guy's awesome. Thank you, Daymond. What makes our show unique is that we genuinely care about our listeners. We're intentional about choosing the best advertisers to recommend. Blinds.com is no exception. They offer high-quality window treatments at unbelievable prices, and they make it simple to shop blinds, shades, and interior shutters with easy online ordering, free shipping, and a guaranteed perfect fit. Go to Blinds.com and take advantage of this week's special savings. Ken Coleman, Ramsey personality, #1 best-selling author, and author of the new book that's in pre-sale, From Paycheck to Purpose, The Clear Path to Doing Work You Love, is my co-host. He and I were both speaking this morning at the enrichment event for the Ramsey Financial Coaches, and it was a lot of fun. You did a great job, of course.
Thank you, sir. A lot of fun. You warmed them up. It's always nice to follow you. You know the crowd's ready. You know they're fired up.
Or you know the bar's set low. And,
whatever. Yeah, no, not the case. It was a great crowd. These are the men and women who are on the front lines who have decided, because of the baby steps and the life change and transformation that they brought into their life as a result of that clear path. Now they're out there coaching other men and women and giving hope. And you know, it's just always a blessing to be able to look eyeball to eyeball with those men and women who care deeply about coaching others. So it was really, really sweet crowd and fun time.
Well, and they know their why. They're clear on what they're doing.
Yes, they do.
They're very missional, and that's your whole message of the Ken Coleman Show, and is with your career to be missional. Find something you love and pour yourself into it. So if you want to talk careers, Ken is with us today. You want to talk jobs, Ken's with us. And of course, we'll talk about your life and your money. This is the Ramsey Show, so it's all about you. Wiley is with us in Reno, Nevada. Hi, Wiley. How are you?
Doing well, Dave. Hi, Ken. How are you guys?
Great.
Having a blast.
How can we help?
Hey, so my question, I'm currently debt-free. I've been listening to you for the last 2 years, paid off all my debt. My mom turned me on to you, and I got out of college debt-free. So I'm currently in baby step 4, and I'm saving 15% of my retirement. And I currently work for the school district here, so I have a retirement through the district, a pension. I have a 403B and a Roth IRA that I'm all contributing to.
Look at you. Well done.
Thank you. It's all due to you and everything that you kind of...
I didn't give you any money.
True. So I'm just trying to look forward to my future. I'm looking to buy a house.
Good.
Should I stop investing in these and just stack money, or should I continue to invest in one, or is there a certain one that's better than the other?
Either one is fine. People do all three things. Once you get to baby step 3, which means you have your emergency fund in place and you're debt-free, which you did a while back, way to go, then is when you start saving for a house. Sometimes people wait a little bit, particularly if they're young like you. They wait a little bit to start their investing and use all that margin to pile up a big old down payment. And there's nothing wrong with doing that. I don't want you to wait more than 3 years. But if you want to take a couple years and pile up a down payment and hold on baby step 4, we always call that baby step 3B around here. Other people look at it and go, I can still save pretty aggressively while doing my investing, so I'm going to just dial some of my investing back. But I'm going to do this other one over here that's really sweet. I don't want to get completely out. And Ken, we see people do up and down that spectrum, and they all do well.
Yeah, because what happens is when you get to that baby step 3 and you can move to 3B and you're looking out, you have all this freedom and you get to decide what really, really matters. You've got the discipline. You've done the hard work. So now it really is, I like that either or. What's most important now? And begin to move with the same discipline, the same purpose that you have been.
Now,
and you'll get there.
We do not say that about paying off your house early.
No.
We say do the 15%.
That's right.
And whatever you can find above that, pay your house off early.
Yep.
But for saving for the down payment on the first house,
that's right.
A lot of people, in their 20s or 30s, will take a temporary pause on baby step 4, a gap year.
Oh, I like that, Dave.
Between 3 and 4.
I like that.
And they all build their down payment, right?
Yes.
And that's baby step 3B. I've never thought of it that way.
I haven't either, actually. That's good.
That's pretty good. I like that. All right. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Tyler is in Abilene, Texas. Hey, Tyler, how are you?
I'm doing great, Dave. How are you?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
Well, me and my wife are new to you. We got married in June.
Congratulations.
From the ground running, we knew debt was a bad idea. She came into the marriage debt-free. I did not by a long stretch. So we, as soon as we got married, got back from the honeymoon, started attacking debt and working together to pay it off. We really haven't argued about money at all until last night. So I wanted to be our tiebreaker. So.
Uh-oh.
Oh, boy.
Okay. So what is the argument about? This is great. I'll get my whistle out. My little striped umpire
I need
shirt.
a flag, too. I could throw a flag on him.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
All right. Go, Tyler. What's the argument?
All right. So I'm a youth pastor, and we were talking about once we get out of baby step 2 about investing. And my CPA has talked to me a little bit about possibly filing an exemption for Social Security taxes. My wife is concerned about doing that in case, the what ifs could happen if I injured and couldn't work or whatever, or disability wouldn't be a factor. And my mind behind it being a real numbers-minded person, say, well, we can make a lot more in investing that or getting out of debt quicker if we opted out of the Social Security. Mm-hmm. So I didn't know what you would advise in that, either direction or neither at all.
Darn. I don't get to blow my whistle. You're both right.
Yeah.
So let me walk you through how we handle this, okay? Yes, I believe pastors should opt out of Social Security. In order to do that, you have to sign a document that it says you're a conscientious objector, that as a religious basis, you do not believe in the Social Security system. And it's only for your pastoral income, by the way. If you have another income, that income's subject to Social Security. It's only for your pastoral income. Now, I could sign that with good conscience because I believe the Bible teaches us to be good managers, good stewards of money, and giving money to the Social Security system is by definition not being a good steward. And so that's not a joke. That's just that's a morality fact as far as I'm concerned. And so you're not being a good manager if you give the government money and you didn't have to. So I could in good conscience be a conscientious objector. I don't have that option because I'm not a pastor. So yes, I would opt out. And yes, you're right. You would make more money by investing that money. Putting it in a fruit jar, you would end up with more than giving it to them. It has a negative rate of return. The Social Security system does on average. Plus, when you die, they keep the money you put in and use it for the other people, okay? Versus if you put it in a fruit jar, when you die, if your relatives can find it, you'd be okay. They would have it. Get the metal detector out in the backyard like they will be at my place, right? Because I bury coffee cans. Everybody knows that. Not. Yeah. But anyway. So now, your wife is also correct. The Social Security system does 3 things that you would be unwise to step away from the Social Security system without covering for those 3 things. One is disability. And you would not be getting SSI or Social Security disability if you became disabled. So you need to buy long-term disability insurance before you opt out. Oh, you need to do that whether you opt out or not because the Social Security disability is not enough to live on. So everyone needs long-term disability insurance anyway, okay? The second thing is you will not be receiving disability or Social Security at retirement. So you will need to save for retirement. Oh, wait a minute. You need to do that anyway because we've already covered they suck. The rate of return, the money you're going to get at retirement is awful. You'll be eating Alpo. So you need to have a retirement account. But not doing a retirement account, not doing Social Security, and not having a disability account, and then you retire broke or you get disabled and no policy, your wife is right. That would be really dumb. Okay? And the third one is, and it's not applicable yet, but if you have children and you die, your children get paid Social Security until they reach 18 on your behalf. And you would need to buy life insurance to make sure your family is taken care of in the event of you dying before you're rich. Oh, wait, you need to do that anyway because the Social Security coming to your kids is not going to be enough. And so I could conscientiously object and step out, but you got to cover disability, death, and retirement, but you got to do that anyway.
I'm thinking about being a pastor, Dave, all of a sudden, so I can opt out. Part-time, of course, Dave. I'm not leaving.
Oh, this is The Ramsey Show.
Stop
paying your overpriced wireless provider and switch to PureTalk. They use the same network as the larger providers for much less. For just $30 a month, get unlimited talk, text, and 6 gigs of data with no contract. The average family saves over $70 a month by switching to PureTalk. Just go to puretalk.com and enter the promo code Ramsey to save 50% off your first month. PureTalk, simply smarter wireless. Ken Coleman, Ramsey personality, is our co-host today here on The Ramsey Show. I'm your host, Dave Ramsey. The phone number is 888-825-5225. If you feel like you're constantly running, but nothing you do ever moves the needle, you can't get off the wheel, your money, your life, that's normal. Most people feel that way. But right now in our world, normal is frustrating, it's exhausting all the time. But you can live the life you want, where you're debt-free, where you actually have breathing room in your time and your money, but it takes having a game plan. And that's why we want you to join us for our Game Plan Live. We're doing a free live stream on September 28th. Me, Dave Ramsey, Christy Wright, and George Campbell, and we're going to help you set a foundation for your goals and your money. We're going to give you a game plan. Now, I don't know what normal is anymore. Who knows what normal is? I want to get back to normal. I'm not sure I want to get back to normal. I want things like the old days. I don't want things like the old days. The old days had outhouses and cars that didn't have disc brakes and didn't have penicillin. I don't want the old days. I like it the way it is. And so life is pretty good. But normal as of 2 years ago, I'd settle for that. But I don't think you're going to see that again. I think we have a different world now. So let's learn to live. Let's learn to live and not sit on the sidelines and throw grenades. So we're going to give you a game plan September 28th. To register for the Game Plan Live stream, text Game Plan to 33789. Text Game Plan, all one word, to 33789. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Marissa is in Bend, Oregon. Hi, Marissa. How can Ken and I help?
Hi, thank you for taking my call. My husband and I, we are really frustrated living in Oregon right now. And so we are wanting to move somewhere that to a state that is more in line with our values and what we want for the future for our children. And we are in the middle of baby steps 3 and 4. So just trying to, your advertisement about a game plan. So just trying to figure out what would be the best game plan to plan a move like this, something we had not planned on doing at all. We both were born and raised in Oregon, but it's just too much.
It's so heartbreaking. The place you were born, the place you love, the place you were raised doesn't feel like home anymore.
No, not at all.
Yeah. So what are the key things that are driving you out of there?
So a lot of it is just, the unrelenting mandates. I work for state government. My husband works for Indian tribe here. So it just is, one thing after another. Our kids are just being bombarded by, liberal, anti-Christian views when they're in school. We actually live in more of a rural area, so we don't have any other schooling options for them. So those are the two big things. A lot of the politics, just, the constant socialist ideas that are being passed down in Oregon. So, all of it.
Well, the reason I ask is not to stir up trouble, but I think it is good for elected officials to hear why their citizens are leaving.
Right.
And it's happening in California, New York, en masse. It's happening in Oregon and Washington State. It's happening around some of the major cities where the city has lost control. They've lost control of their cities. People are, they are not, people who are the producers in our culture, who are the artists who make the art, the business people who run the businesses, the administrators who administrate, the good moms and dads who do show up at the PTA meetings. They've lost their tolerance for this stuff, and we're seeing one of the biggest migrations in the history of the United States right now since the time that this country was actually settled. It's pretty bizarre. So that's why I bring it up. It's kind of a philosophical thing, but worth talking about.
Yeah, Marissa, I'm curious if you could tell Dave and I what's driving the destination the most. Is it the where or is it the what you guys will need to do from a professional standpoint? I'm just curious.
Well, I actually work in a prison here in Oregon, so, my career field I'm not necessarily anticipating being able to stay in. But my husband is a farmer. He actually farms for, like I said, a Native American tribe for their tribal government. So he's very much, he has an ag degree from Texas, so that's kind of why we were looking at Texas. He's, familiar with Texas, really liked going to school there. So his degree is in ag economics, so he can run any part of a farm from the business end to the manual end. So right now we're focusing on getting him a job and where would that be? What would that look like? Especially in the Midwest. Even just job opportunities for him in Oregon, the farming community where they're out of water, so his opportunities, regardless of the politics, are becoming few and far between. So, so that's another thing that's driving our desire to move is career opportunities as well.
What do you do tactically, just the function in the prison system? What kind of a job? Is it administrative in nature? What do you do?
Right now I run a life skills program, so transitioning work, so I can do that kind of stuff in a variety of settings. And I also have experience in administration. So,
okay, great.
I feel like I'm a little bit more marketable.
Yes, you are.
As far as, working for a different type of environment.
I think your career field might be, Ken, correct me if I'm wrong, more defined by what you do rather than where you have been doing it. Right. So I really wouldn't, I think I've been running a life skills program. I've been in administration. Oh, by the way, happen to be in a prison system.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. So once you guys get where the right gig is for the hubs, this is a wonderful, wonderful job market right now, and you're going to be very, very attractive to a lot of different people. So I just wanted to ask about that. So I think, Dave, at this point, it's, okay, we got to figure out the place. We've got a wonderful relocation guide that I do want to make sure Kelly gives them at the end of this call. We had a Ramsey relocation guide. It's free. It really helps you walk through a checklist of everything from real estate professional, schools, packing, everything you can imagine. Because part of the thing that freaks people out about a move is not having a plan. It's just like, what do I think of? There's a million things. And certainly when you're uprooting from one state and moving cross country, that's terrifying. But we do have a great tool we want to give her that'll help.
I didn't even know that.
You didn't know that? Yeah, I talk about it on the Ken Coleman Show because we have a lot of people changing jobs. And so
I guess I ought to know these things. I'd given away one. But,
it's a checklist. So it helps you come up with a plan to make the move.
Hey, Marissa, we have this great Anyway, the thing that comes to mind for me is I always have to put stuff like this. How do you eat an elephant a bite at a time? You said how do you lay out a game plan. I always have to put stuff that's this big a task in order, almost like a flow chart. Until this happens, I can't go to the next thing. And the first thing for you guys is to land careers.
Right.
You can't go on a wing and a prayer and hope somebody hires you. So if you both had jobs making more or equal to what you're making now in a new market, now moving starts to be mathematically fairly easy.
And that's another thing that's been overwhelming is, just the cost of living, and our salaries here are quite a bit more than when I look at like Texas, Oklahoma, kind of Midwest. But I also know that we're going to be able to buy a house that's probably half the price of our house here, so just trying to keep those things in perspective too. But when you look at those salaries,
if you can land the career with a track, land the position, both of you, then in whatever city, and you say, okay, that's where we're going. Then you can start unraveling the stuff on your end and making the leap. but making the leap until you have the income waiting on you at the new place is that's really dangerous. And so that would be my biggest and first thing I would do if I were in your shoes, is to jump on King Coleman's site, use all of his tools to land that job you love. And this may be a time to transition into a different segment of your career field that gives you more meaning as well. But land that first, and then you can talk about selling your house, buying a house. You can talk about moving. You can talk about actually loading up the truck and heading to Beverly Hills, that is. Swimming pools and movie stars.
Texas tea.
This is The Ramsey Show. Ken Coleman, Ramsey personality, #1 best-selling author, is my co-host today. His new book is called From Paycheck to Purpose: The Clear Path to Doing Work You Love. You can get it at RamseySolutions.com, and if you pre-order it, because it will come out in early November, and you should pre-order it, you will get over $100 worth of items with it, including the ebook, including the audio book, including what's the other stuff in there?
Well, you're going to get the Get Hired course, which is our digital course. It really gives you the edge to beat the competition. It's a wonderful little course. We've got the Livestream event coming up November. We've got so many more goodies that are practical tools that are kind of in a suite there. So that's where it gets you that incredible value. So that is fantastic. It's kind of like you get all the tools that allow you to beat the competition. That's what we're trying to put together here to give people the edge. It's competitive right now.
That's the way it happens.
Yeah.
This is The Ramsey Show. 888-825-5225. Jim's in Sacramento. Hi, Jim. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
Good. I got a little bit of a pickle here. We sold one of our rental properties out here in California, and we have approximately $310,000 in a 1031 exchange. By the time we were able to evict our tenants and get out, the market has kind of climbed a little bit higher. We have emergency fund. We're on baby step 7, no bills, and but the problem is we're kind of just short on cash without liquidating our emergency fund out to buy another rental property. Obviously, don't want to take a loan, but I also don't want to pay $60,000+ in taxes. What would you do?
You have $310,000.
Yes, sir.
I'd buy a $310,000 rental property.
You can't find them out here.
That's not true. You can't find one you like.
Correct.
That, but they're there.
I have my emergency fund as well as some additional cash, but it would take my emergency fund down to just a low amount.
So explain to me what that means. How much money are you talking about?
We typically keep about $30,000 in our emergency fund.
So you're telling me you cannot find a property for $310,000, but you can for $340,000?
They're running. Well, I have additional money as well. I have additional 50 or so, 50,000 in cash. But I don't want to liquidate every dime I have down. I would have to go down to.
But I mean, you're telling me you can find a house for $360,000, but not $310,000?
Yeah, it's pretty close. Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah, and the market's just crazy hot.
Well, I know that. But, well, you can do what you want to do. I think you. It's just illogical that you can find $360,000 but can't find $310,000. I mean, if you told me you can't find anything for under $600,000, but so my $310,000 won't work, we'll argue about that. That's at least a logical argument. But $360,000 versus $310,000, that could be a matter of negotiation. That could be a matter of finding one that needs the gutters replaced.
Correct. Yeah, no, I understand. We're looking at right about 380, 390, and I have the cash for that.
You have a particular property you've fallen in love with.
No, absolutely not. I don't fall in love with real estate.
You have a particular property you have your eye on.
We do. We're down to about 14 days to identify a property in that 1031. So we want to, we've got two or three we're looking at right now, and they're right about 380 to 390. It just puts my emergency fund, down to about $5,000. We make about 220, 230, depending on bonuses.
So your emergency fund's down for 1 month or 2 months.
Yeah, that's kind of my thought. Yeah.
I think you rebuild the emergency fund like it's an emergency, and you close on something if you got 13 days. But moral of the story is don't wait till you paint yourself into a 13-day corner so you get desperate and have to make a move that's pinchy, because this is pinchy. It feels pinchy.
But this is all because not wanting to pay capital gains.
Yeah. You could buy less.
That's, yeah.
And you could buy, hypothetically, go to another market, even go 100 miles away.
That's what I'm wondering. I feel like
buy a $200,000 property. You're going to pay capital gains on 110, not on 310. Then, so you only pay on what you don't use up out of this.
Yeah, I despise taxes. You know this. I hate them. But I mean,
it doesn't need to be the tail that wags the dog.
That's what I'm wondering. It's
right.
putting some false pressure here.
It's not false pressure.
Well,
it's making you prioritize the wrong thing first.
Thank you for saying that better. Yes, but it's like, ooh.
Make good business decisions first, great tax decisions second.
Yes.
Not great tax decisions and bad business decisions.
That's exactly
That's what's
right.
bothering you.
Yeah.
And you're right.
I feel like it's just the wrong thing is driving the train.
Right. So I think you're going to close on a $380,000 property because I think you can't get your head off of it. That's what I think is going to happen.
You nailed that. I mean, he's got something. He goes, this is a good deal if I can get it.
Yeah, and he's going to get it. So you make 2 1/4. No, don't borrow money. You're going to do it, and you're going to take you're going to run 3 months or 4 months without a properly funded emergency fund while you rebuild it with a $200,000 income and no payments in the world. So, but God help you if something breaks in that new rental the first month. You got no money.
That never happens, though, Dave.
Well,
you're the real estate guy.
I'm with you. I think it's worth talking about. I hate taxes.
I do too, with a passion.
I will do almost anything except a bad deal.
And that's what I'm getting at here.
To avoid paying taxes.
Right. Here's a guy who's at baby step 7. He's crushed it.
Yeah.
He's done a phenomenal job with his money.
Yeah.
And to try to avoid capital gains tax when you're...
Well, capital gains on $300,000 is 60.
Yeah.
Okay, but capital gains on $100,000 is 15. So, you can buy something cheaper too is a possibility. But here, guys, in the decision-making frameworks that we use, all of us use, when you paint yourself into a corner and you start making statements like they don't have any of those, that's when I start challenging you, because they always have one of those. I don't even know what those is yet, but there's always another option. When you start telling me there's, it's like, bless your heart, when you're doing youth ministry and they go, she broke up with me and she's the only woman on the planet.
Yeah.
No, she's not.
Yeah.
By Tuesday, you'll see another one.
That's the truth. That's the truth.
It's fatalism thing, God only, that's the one that God picked out for me. There's only one.
Yeah.
Nope, there's another one.
I had a guy say that to me once. He said, well, what I really mean is she's the only one that would love me. I go, now that is possible. But no, I kid.
You're a real minister, aren't you?
I really have a heart for people.
You're a real pastor's heart.
It was a buddy.
Chris is in New York. Hey, Chris, what's up?
Hey, what's going on, fellas?
Hey, man.
I'm in a really tough situation right now. I just literally found out probably about a year ago I had a judgment against me since 2012. I never knew about it. I was never the type to check my credit or anything like that. Recently, I've been trying to build my credit. And when I got the letter in the mail, I said, wait a minute, hold on, wait. They're taking me to court for garnishment. So I did not understand at all why they would take me to court. Come to find out, they sent papers that I was never served in 2012, and they got the judgment against me because I never appeared to court. But I never got the
Before I
papers.
run out of time, Chris, what's your question?
Oh, well, I'm sorry. My question is my original debt was $4,000. They want right now $20,000. I call and I try to settle with them. Basically, they said, no, we want the full $20,000.
What was this debt resulting from?
This was a credit card debt.
Okay. Absolute horse crap. They will settle for $1,500. And if you can't beat them down to that, I know. If you can't beat them down to that on the phone, you need to hire an attorney. Don't pay them $20,000. It's probably not even collectible in your state. So if it's 8 years, 9 years, 10 years old.
Yeah, that's why I'm so confused by it. I'm like, why? Like, I just didn't understand it. Well, basically,
here's what you've not done. Here's what you've not done. You've not been proactive. To start with, you knew you had credit card debt, did nothing about it since 2012. And then a year ago, you got a judgment notice. And now you're calling me a year later, still working on it. So you need to get on this, man, and get this solved. Time to put both feet on it. Now. If you can't fix it, you need to spend $2,000 on an attorney to fix it and get it solved. But I don't think they can even collect it. But I think you probably settle it for $1,000, couple $1,000. Probably going to cost you $1,000 in attorney's fees.
This is James Childs, producer of The Ramsey Show. Did you know The Ramsey Show is one of the most popular podcasts in the world? Subscribe or follow today wherever you listen to podcasts.
This is The Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Dollar Car Rental Studios, it's The Ramsey Show, where debt is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. Ken Coleman, Ramsey personality and career coach extraordinaire, is my co-host today as we talk about your life, your money, your career, and how it all works together. We're answering your questions at 888-825-5225. So, Ken, this is an interesting and distressing part of our world today. We did at Ramsey a couple of years ago the largest, by far, airtight research, the largest study of millionaires in North America, in the United States of America, ever done. All the details. Where do they come from? What do they think about? Did they inherit their money? What are their careers? What's their marital status? What's their race, creed, color, whatever. Everything we could figure out, and trying to figure out, okay, what does it take to become a millionaire in America today? A millionaire is $1 million net worth. For those of you that don't know, it's not a billionaire. A billion is 1,000 million. It's a lot more. If you have $3,000, you're closer to being a millionaire than a millionaire is to being a billionaire, as an example. So it's not private jets and 7 cars. Okay? That's not a millionaire. $1 million net worth is not that much. But it is more than most people have. There's about 17 million millionaires in America. And that's what you own minus what you owe equals your net worth. Your assets minus your liabilities is your net worth. So if you have no debt and you have $1 million in your 401k, you're a millionaire. Okay? That's simple. That kind of a thing. All right. So we post on Instagram yesterday, and this is what is societally distressing. That from this study, not a feeling that we have, we didn't ask your broke brother-in-law his opinion. We asked real millionaires, 10 freaking thousand of them, who they are, where they come from. And one of the many conclusions we drew from this was the top 10 career fields that we found according to frequency within the study. So what career field did we find most often, second most often, and so on? The most often we found was engineer. The second was an accountant or CPA. The third was teacher. The fourth was management. The fifth was attorney. So not even making the top 5 is medical doctor. By the way, they were 6. Number 6. But they're not even in the top 5. And we post that on there. And Instagram and Facebook proves once again that humanity is full of morons. I mean, if you read comments after articles or comments after posts like this, you understand why some species eat their young. People are dumber than a rock out there.
Oh, yeah, a lot of mouth breathers.
Some of you listening are dumber than a rock.
Yeah.
I mean, I never heard, this is ridiculous. So here's the thing, okay? We've done detailed scientific research that proves that the sun is hot, and we post it on Instagram. The sun is hot.
Yeah.
Some of you morons will disagree with that.
Yeah.
Just because you think you have a right to. And you should really stop before you post something because it makes you look stupid. Okay, was that unclear?
Well, I felt like you could have had a little bit more enthusiasm for what you were saying. I felt like it lost a little fervor. No, I think you're absolutely right. This is data, and you know what's funny is like people they want to argue like we're duping people.
Yeah,
like well we're just saying this to be cute.
Dave Ramsey. Teachers aren't really making that kind of money. Not where I live. I'm a teacher. Teachers can't be millionaires.
Right.
No way teachers can be millionaires. No teachers should be on there. Where are the nurses? Where are the nurses?
Right.
Well, you nurses get your butt in gear, and I guess you'll make the dadgum list. Oh, my gosh.
Well, what they're missing, what these brilliant mouth breathers have forgotten in this post is that it has nothing to do with the salary. It has everything to do with the way they live. Now, engineers certainly can make way more money than a teacher, but it is they have lived on less than they make. They have saved. They have invested. They've walked a clear path, the baby steps. They're baby steps millionaires. And that's what they're missing here. They think, oh, I know what a teacher salary is. You guys are just making this stuff up.
No,
as if you're into clickbait.
Let me tell you what all 5 do share in common. All 5 professions are systems people.
That's right.
They all work systems.
Yep.
Teachers work a teaching plan. They have a lesson plan.
Yep.
They work a system. And if somebody gives them a lesson plan, they don't go make up their own.
Yep.
They follow the lesson plan. And engineers, they don't make up their own thing. The bridge would fall.
That's correct.
They have to follow the system. They have to follow the processes. Attorneys have to follow a process called the law. You know, you don't get to make it up. You have to actually adhere to a process. All of these people adhere to processes for a living, and they take that same part of their personality and they apply it to their money, and voila, they become a millionaire. So what is the data on teacher income?
Well, right now, the median income in the United States is $60,000. So now, before some of you folks start firing shots at me on that, I said median.
You know what a median is?
Does anybody know what the median is?
If you had been in a good teacher's class, you would have known.
It's your law of averages. You just run your averages. So there's
no average is different than median.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying if you look at across the board of what the median salary is for a teacher, it's 60. Now that means in some districts in the United States, like for instance, I got a friend who's teaching high school in New York, upstate New York. He's making over 6 figures. So this is across the board. You look at the median, and now we go, okay, this is what we're looking at in the United States. But again, it is about how they live on less than they make. It's not. This study wasn't pointing to how much they make. It was how much they keep. And by the way, there is one other correlation between all of these millionaires. They love their work.
Yeah. High correlation.
Let's
in
not
the 80 percentile range.
80 percentile. They love.
So let me help you with this. If you invest from age 30 to age 65 in a decent growth stock mutual fund, 15% of $60,000, you'll have $4.8 million.
Yeah, there it is.
Now, you can also fire off a bunch of comments about that. But that was math. You don't really get to negotiate with math.
Yeah.
That's how math works. It just is or it isn't.
That's right.
You don't get to make up your own version.
That's not an opinion.
And so if you only are 1/5 as good as we teach.
Right.
I mean, $5 million, $4.8 million.
Right.
Okay, you would still have $1 million.
Right.
And from age 30 to age 65. So, sheesh.
But Dave, that's all too clear cut and simple for the keyboard warriors. There's got to be more complexity. They got to tear it apart. It's got to be a game, and that's unfortunate. That's the sad part.
The sad part is that we have a portion of our culture now who, rather than fix their life and address the person in the mirror's deficits, instead wants a narrative that declares them a victim.
There it is. That can't possibly be true, Dave, because if that's true, I could do it. If your study was accurate,
well, what do you know about my study? If If your mouth was shut, you wouldn't be making noise. Oh, my God.
But, Dave, they're mouth breathers, so the mouth can't be shut.
Seriously, people, you really should abstain from the comments section, reading them or commenting on them. Oh, my gosh. This is The Ramsey Show.
Still on baby step number 1, eh?
How'd you guess?
With healthcare costs rising, learn how Christian Healthcare Ministries can help you make the most out of your budget. Visit chministries.org/budget.
Don't worry, it's worth it.
Ken Coleman, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. This is The Ramsey Show. Open phones at 888-825-5225. You know, I gotta circle back one more time. I can't let that lay. There's a reason that you and I both get so visibly frustrated with people that have a victim narrative and insist on spreading their victim narrative. We know from having worked with thousands and even millions of people that most anyone that follows a proven process can go get a great job, can get out of debt and build wealth, can have a good marriage. We know that people that choose to control their behavior in spite of the negative influences from the outside, in spite of bad things having happened to them. And we all have challenges, but in spite of the challenges, we know that people can create for themselves, carve out for themselves a good life if they bother. When someone posts a negative narrative that says, oh, teachers can't do it, then someone believes that, or you're in an echo chamber with a bunch of people that says teachers can't do it, then, God help us, teachers believe they can't do it.
Yeah.
And we know that that's not true, and you've then limited someone's belief and someone's future, and you've brought harm to them. And we love people, that so much we want them to win, and anything that keeps them from winning, including you Debbie Downers out there, you're going to be at the tip of our sharp tongue.
Yeah, I agree with that. And let me just say this, as much as we will take shots at people that are constantly negative and cynical, I do
even
feel
you could do it if you'd quit doing that.
I feel sadness over that because you've bought in some form or fashion a false narrative. You have had some bad stuff happen to you. Maybe somebody did something. Maybe you made a mistake and you did something dumb. That doesn't disqualify you from being a victor. I've never read a biography in my life, and I've read a lot of them, where the person in the story that we're reading about always did everything right, had no hardship, had no self-inflicted wounds, had no disadvantages. So I absolutely agree with you. We get fired up on this because we're in the business of hope. We're in the business of giving people hope that they can be who they're supposed to be. They can do what they want to do. And yeah, it really makes me angry when people just go, nah, that's all a pipe dream. And it irritates us. And we live in a world today where people really are influenced, shockingly, by a comment in a comment section.
By the negative.
Yeah, and that's why it fires us up.
The negative.
Good grief, here's my deal. If you really believe that, then why do you feel like you got to share that with everybody else? I mean, you have the right to believe and say, and I will always fight for liberty, to say and be negative and Eeyore. If that's what you want to be, great. But don't bring it around the rest of us.
Yeah, old country saying, if you ain't got something nice to say, why don't you say nothing at all?
I mean, life is too short.
Pastor friend of mine used to say, if it's not helpful, hopeful, or promotes healing, you don't need to say it.
That's good. Yeah.
If it's not helpful, hopeful, or promotes healing, you don't need to say it.
Yeah.
And I could take to that advice occasionally too. I just called a whole bunch of people stupid. But I think that might have been healing though.
I think it was a little therapeutic for both of us.
Yeah, me and you were healed by it.
Yeah, but I will say this. I think it's fair to say that someone is stupid or unintelligent when they argue data.
Yeah.
But by the way, those are the same people that go, science over here, but we're going to argue something we don't like. And you've heard this
Until
before.
you don't like it, yeah.
That's right. We hear what we want to hear. We see what we want to see.
Echo chamber city, man.
Yeah.
It's just people. Man, oh man, oh man. Ryan is with us in Fresno. Hi, Ryan. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hi, how's it going?
Good, man. What's up?
All right. So, question for you. I made a non-Dave decision about 4 years ago, and I need your help getting out of it.
Okay. That's an interesting way of saying it. Non-Dave, meaning it was a bad decision.
It was a bad decision.
Well, thanks for the compliment, but how can I help? Tell me what happened.
Yeah, so my wife and I went in on a property with her sister and her husband, and it's 20 acres. It has a primary house, and it had a mobile home on it. So my wife and I, we took the primary house, and they took the mobile home. It was all agreed upon, everything good. We decided to split the ownership 50-50.
You split 50-50, but they get the trailer?
That was what we agreed on.
You're a good negotiator.
Yeah, so I pay a little bit more for homeowners insurance just because we are in the primary house. We have to have two separate homeowners insurance. Just, I don't know. That's how they worked it out. Anyways, my brother-in-law, they either want us to all sell this place together, or they want me to buy him out. And we can't come to an agreement on how we want to do that. We basically, our relationship is soured, and so we're kind of at a standstill of how we can go about it.
That's sad.
Yeah.
I don't know how much help I can be with the relationship part. I have a couple of thoughts on structure if you want those. You went into it 50-50, so why don't you just have the property appraised and pay him 50%? Hello?
So let's say the appraised. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Why don't you have it appraised?
So
you put in 50, each put in 50%, right?
Uh-huh.
And he got the short end of the stick and lived in the trailer. All right?
Yeah.
And now he wants to buy out. Why can't you pay him 50% of the value? What's wrong with that?
Well, the value is somewhere around $400,000.
Yeah.
And so that would mean. So how does that mean? I'm paying him $200,000, or just?
He owns 50% of it. He bought 50% of it. You bought 50% of it.
We don't own the home outright, though. We're still paying on a mortgage.
Okay, together?
Yeah.
Okay, then it's $400,000 minus the mortgages divided by 2.
Okay.
So you're saying the total 20 acres and the house and the trailer are worth $400,000? Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah.
Okay, and how much is the mortgage?
We owe about $320 on it.
Okay, you're going to have to get that refinanced to get his name off of it for him to be free. But you've only got $80,000 worth of equity. You need to write him a check for $40,000. Not really. I'll come to that in a minute. But your half, you buy out his half. Why is that complicated?
I don't want to go into even more debt. I think I'm having trouble figuring out how to. I'm paying him $40,000 and then accruing the remaining balance of the mortgage.
Yeah, but you also own the property 100%.
Okay. Okay.
Instead of owning a $200,000 property, now you own a $400,000 property.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so, can you handle the mortgage by yourself? I think that might be the problem.
Yes, I can.
What's your household income?
Last year I brought in about 72.
Okay. You can't afford this. This payment by yourself, can you? That's your household income? You and your wife?
Yeah, my wife's stay at home.
Okay. All right.
We have we run a small family ranch where we live.
Yeah. I'm sorry, sir. I don't think you can afford a $400,000 mortgage or a $300,000 mortgage, $350,000 mortgage on a $72,000 income. I don't think that's going to work well for you. Your payment when you take this out on a 15-year fix should be no more than a fourth of your income. I think you guys are selling this property. That's what I think. And you and your wife are going to live somewhere else, and your brother-in-law is going to live somewhere else. That's a sad deal, though. It's heartbreaking.
If you're ready to get out there and find a job you love, then you need to hear this. Job hunting can be stressful and time-consuming, but my friends at ZipRecruiter have made the whole job search way easier. ZipRecruiter is rated the #1 job site in the U.S. by G2, and it's free. So how does it work? First, go to ZipRecruiter.com/Ken. Then create a free profile and let their technology do the hard work by finding and sending you jobs that are a great fit. And get this, ZipRecruiter pitches your profile to companies whose jobs match your skills and experience. If someone from that company likes your profile, they can personally invite you to apply for the job. So if you're ready for an easier job search, check out ZipRecruiter. Sign up for free right now at ZipRecruiter.com/Ken. That's ZipRecruiter.com/Ken. Sign up today, absolutely free, and let ZipRecruiter work for you.
All right, Ken, I want to revisit the last caller because I had a thought at the break, a solution. Okay, so let's revisit. He and his wife's sister and his brother-in-law, the four of them, bought a property together, 20 acres. They live in Fresno, California, and it has a trailer on it and a home on it. They moved into the home. The brother-in-law moved into the trailer. Something's gone sour, and the brother-in-law wants out. He wants out of the deal. They both put in 50%. The property's currently valued at $400,000, and they owe $320,000. Those were the facts going into the break. Okay, he makes $75,000 a year. He can't afford the payment on the whole thing if he buys his brother-in-law out. It was my point going into the break. So that sounds like they're going to be forced to sell out of the whole thing. I did have another way because he also said I think he's ranching on that property. Yep. So I was not only getting rid of his house, I was getting rid of his job.
His sole income, yeah.
Yeah, everything. I mean, his whole life's upside down. So I hated to just throw him under the bus, headed into a commercial break. So here is a thought for Ryan. You can subdivide 20 acres and take the 10 that you want to keep and the 10 that the brother-in-law keeps. The brother-in-law sells his 20 acres, or his 10 acres, and the trailer is on that. He takes that money, pays half of the mortgage off because he's liable for half of the mortgage. The mortgage is $320,000, so that puts it at $180,000. Did I do that right? No. I
$320,000 and half is not $180,000.
It's $160,000. Yep. Thank you. Yeah, I'm the money guy. Keep this in mind.
I was a little nervous heading into that, to be honest with you. I did some quick math myself. I was like, before I question Dave on that one.
I thought Dave. Yeah.
Had to take my shoes off under the desk and use my toes.
Okay, so $160,000.
Yeah.
All right. So brother-in-law pays off $160,000.
Right.
Whatever's left from the sale of the 10 acres after he pays off $160,000, he puts in his pocket and walks away.
I like that.
He's just been bought out.
Yep.
Now, then Ryan has to go get a new mortgage for $160,000.
Yep.
Only owns 10 acres, has no money out of pocket, and he can put that on a 15-year and survive, making $75,000.
That's right.
But you're not going to have 20 acres, Ryan. You're going to have 10 acres. Yep. Subdivide it, 10 acres each. Brother-in-law sells his, takes the money proceeds from the sale, pays off half of the mortgage. Simultaneously, Ryan's going to have to get a new mortgage at the same closing table for $160,000 to give clear title to the new buyer on the 10 acres.
Yeah.
The buyer on the 10 acres, and the brother is going to get whatever, if he sells that for $400,000.
Yeah.
Whatever the brother-in-law can sell his 10 acres for, he gets that money.
Yeah.
Minus $160,000. He has to pay off his half of the mortgage. And then Ryan can keep his property, but he's only going to keep the 10 acres, which is all he ever had to start with.
Right.
Because it was a partnership on 20 acres.
Yep.
So now, if Ryan needs 20 acres to run his ranch, I don't think he can afford to do it.
There's the problem. Yep, that's the only asterisk there on that one. Yeah.
So, and you're going to have to find a way to subdivide this.
Yeah.
But in most counties in the United States of America, you can subdivide 20 down into 10. Very few places keep you from doing that. And sell it off. And then the brother-in-law got what he got, and that's his half. You don't have to argue about what it's worth. He let the market tell him what it's worth.
Yep.
But he has to bring $160,000 out for his half of the mortgage. All right, now we got there. I feel better about that solution. Jonathan is with us in Fort Worth, Texas, if I pick up the right phone line anyway. There he is. Jonathan's in Fort Worth. Hey, Jonathan, how are you?
Hey, Dave, I'm doing great. Thanks for taking my call today.
Sure. What's up?
So the question I have, my wife and I, we've been Dave Ramsey for a year and a half and debt-free for a year. A little background story, we're retired military and retired in Texas, but through that process, we had a house in another state, kept it as a rental for about the past 10 years, and now we finally got it on the market, and we're going to close on it next month. So the question is the gross amount that we earn from the sale of the house. Do we pay that on our mortgage here in Texas? We also have about $120K in a traditional IRA, or do we pay to roll that to a Roth and then use the remaining balance to pay off our Texas mortgage?
Wow. Well, nothing in the list is dumb. Both things could be under the heading of smart. According to what we teach on the baby steps, I would pay down the house in Texas because I don't convert to a Roth until baby step 7. I don't want to create taxes until I get my house paid off. And so what's the balance on your home in Texas?
So the balance is at $480K. We're on a 2.25% APR, and we're on a, for the simple math, it's a 30-year mortgage. It was cheaper at a 30-year, but we're paying it off at a 15-year rate plus a little extra. So I think we're about on pace to do a.
But the balance is how much again?
$480.
And how much are you getting from the property that you're selling?
We're expected to gross about $200K.
Oh, excellent. Okay. Yeah, I would throw it at the house.
Okay.
Here's the deal. I don't want to create taxes and give the government the tax money while I've still got house debt, because effectively you would have been borrowing on your home to pay the Roth IRA taxation. You follow me?
Okay.
That's why I did that. In other words, if you've got, let's just pretend that you owe $200,000 on your house, $280,000 on your house, okay? And you have the opportunity to convert to your Roth IRA, but it's going to create $200,000 worth of taxes. Are you going to go borrow $200,000 more on your house in order to convert to a Roth? No. If you use this money to convert to a Roth, it is exactly the same thing in a balance sheet scenario where you lay it out on the balance sheet. You create the same thing, you just did it in reverse. And that's how I decided not to do that. That was the critical thinking path I use to say I wouldn't borrow on my house to pay taxes on converting a traditional to a Roth, and I won't pay taxes converting a traditional to a Roth in lieu of paying down my house. It's the same thing, but backwards. That's all. That makes sense?
I was following, but the speed and the pace by which you do it, I have to really catch up. I really do. You know, 35 years of doing this is pretty good, folks. It's pretty good stuff.
Well, it's not rocket, but it's just I have to think about how the stuff is going where, and once I get that, then I remember why I have the baby steps.
That's
because what it amounts to is a lot of times what we're doing, you and me, is your clear path, your steps of your steps of.
The 7 stages
the clear
of meaningful
path
work.
to doing things you love, right?
Yeah.
There's a reason that they're there,
right?
And when something comes up and you go, I don't know, is this an exception? Then you go, no, because
that's right.
Here's the way I did that.
You walk it back through.
Here's the logic flow.
Sure. Yeah, it makes total sense.
And if you do that, then you can understand. Oh, well, that's why the baby steps still work after all these years.
Yep.
That's why your clear path to doing work you love will still work 20 years from now.
Well, one of the things, when you walk through that, what it does is by using that methodology and the way you kind of logically work through that, it also takes out the emotion, which I think is so important. You know, because our emotions get in the way so many times. Just could be a little emotion. I mean, it doesn't have to be some big, fretful, fearful thing. It could be, I got a little bit of doubt. Is this the right thing? I'm a little bit nervous about this. You know, there's a cornucopia of emotions that can get us into a place where we go, and it's like, no, let's walk through this from a process standpoint. That's the power of process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so much of what we are trying to influence you guys to do is a proven process, and his question is really, really good.
Oh yeah,
because it's a high level question.
Absolutely.
And it's also really good because neither answer is in the stupid column.
That's right. It's not like he's got some bad options.
Do I lease a car or do I finance a car?
Yeah. Okay.
Both in the stupid column, right? So, do I get a MasterCard or a Visa credit card? Both in the stupid column.
Yeah.
Discover or American Distress?
Yeah.
Yes. No. Both in the stupid column.
Yeah.
Whole life or universal? Both in the stupid column. Payday lender or timeshare? Both in the stupid column. Both of his were in the smart column.
That's right.
This is the Ramsey Show. Ken Coleman, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. If you've been stressed out about your retirement savings because of everything going on in the world, should you really be concerned, or are you just in freak-out mode? Sometimes we get a little drama queen inside of us, right? Me as well. And that's why you need somebody in your corner to help you with this stuff. You need someone to walk with you when you're freaking out, to teach you, to talk with you, talk you off the ledge and go, don't jump off a roller coaster in the middle of the ride. That's what you need to be reminded of when it comes to investments. What we recommend is a SmartVestor Pro. They're investing professionals that we've carefully vetted. SmartVestor Pros have the heart of a teacher, and they agree with us on what we teach. Text INVEST to 33789, and you can find a list of the SmartVestor Pros in your area. One of them will sit down with you, help you with a retirement plan, help you with an IRA rollover, a 401k rollover, help you get your kids' college set up. And then when the market goes crazy, you can even talk to them about it, and they'll tell you what's really going on. Text INVEST to 33789. Stephen is in Phoenix. Hi, Stephen. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hi, Dave. How are you doing today?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
So I've made it to becoming debt-free except for my mortgage in Arizona, but we're thinking about moving to Florida, and I want to know if I should sell my house in Arizona and pay off one cash in Florida.
If you're moving to Florida, yes.
Okay.
What's the sole purpose of that question? Are you moving to Florida just for cheaper housing, or are you moving for purpose, for professional, for family? What's going on?
So I run a crypto mining business out of my house here, but I'm in an HOA, and we're looking for states that are, I guess, more leaning towards the red side, more freedom oriented. But I just have to convince my wife to sell our house here because we currently have a mortgage to just pay for one cash outright in Florida without an HOA, so I can grow the business as well.
Have you done your homework on a specific spot in Florida that you got in mind here, or is this all theoretical?
No, so I've done research. I'm looking north of Orlando, kind of near the DeLand area, for about around an acre or so is what we're looking for to set up like a mining shed. But it's just kind of convincing my wife to get on board with the whole idea because it's kind of like it feels like a big risk.
Why is it a big risk?
It's just a big change, I think, and she's just worried about it. Maybe the mining business not working out in the future because it flows with the market, so it's not always profitable.
Right. But that's true in Arizona and in Florida.
Yeah, exactly. So
having no mortgage in Florida while you're in an unbelievably high-risk business would be less stressful than having a mortgage in Arizona while you're in an unbelievably high-risk business. How old are you?
29.
Yeah. I think your wife's telling you she doesn't like what you do for a living for risk-wise. I think that's what's happening. But I could be wrong.
Could be some family involved, doesn't want to leave family. I mean, this is a marriage issue here. This is some communication. Yeah. Sit down and get on the same page. So Stephen, we together?
The problem is you're trying to reduce your entire life, which is your relationships, your church, where you shop for groceries, where you how close you are to relatives, all of that down to a decision on whether you have a shed or a mortgage. And it's not that simple. There's more variables involved, and one of the variables is that you're in an unbelievably high risk business, and your wife is. I think she may be saying that to you. Maybe she doesn't even know she's saying that to you, but that's scaring her. And because but it's not as simple as housing's cheaper north of Orlando an hour than it is in Phoenix, which it is. But there's parts of Orlando that are not cheaper than Phoenix. So, if you go north of Phoenix, well, not north of Phoenix, but if you go outside of Phoenix an hour, probably not north towards Sedona, but if you go a different direction, you might find land that's very, very cheap there too, without an HOA. And if you sold your house in Phoenix proper, like if you're sitting in Scottsdale, which is a very expensive market, you could move out of there and probably pay cash for something an hour outside of Phoenix. So I don't care where you live.
Yeah, and I just want to point out that what it feels like, Dave, is that, okay, this is really risky. It's making my wife nervous, but I can buy some more time to keep going with this risky business if I remove my mortgage, and I just need a little more time. And I feel like there's something there.
That's there you go.
And I would also point out that the governor of Arizona is a very, very strong liberty champion. So Arizona is not the politics in Arizona and Florida
a blue
are not,
state.
No, they're not different. So I just want to point that out. I'm trying to take away the excuses.
Yeah. Josh is in Nashville. Hey, Josh, welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hey, Dave. Thanks for taking the call.
Sure. What's up?
Hello?
Hello. What's up?
Hey. I was calling to ask a quick question about some student loan guidance. I'm a physician assistant. I just got married about a year ago. I've been working for a year.
Congrats.
Yeah, thank you. Me and my wife have a lot of money in our checking account because we don't spend anything. We don't have a car payment. We're renting a townhouse, and we just don't know what to do as far as paying off loans versus starting to invest and kind of where to even start.
Phenomenal. Cool. How much is in your checking account?
We have about $40,000 in checking, and then 4 or 5 in kind of a little emergency separate account.
Okay.
And it's just sitting there kind of doing nothing.
And your wife is what?
She's a speech language pathologist. She works part-time from home right now because of COVID.
2 phenomenal careers with high income potential. What's your household income?
Right now it varies because I work in the emergency room, so hours kind of swing. But generally it'll be from $140 to $160 yearly. Yeah,
I think both of you get kicking in. You probably break a 200 pretty quick between the two of you. Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay, well, what we know and what data tells us in 30 years of doing this is that the quickest way between where you are now and wealth is first to alleviate debt, because it's the biggest blocker for you on wealth building, and it adds risk to your life. And so we're going to attack the student loans with a vengeance, if I'm in your shoes, and to the point that your friends think you've lost your mind. Okay? And we're going to get on a tight beans and rice and beans budget. We're going to take all the OT we can get, and we're going to drop 39 of the 40 on this student loan today, and we're going to put a typewritten budget together and begin to attack the rest of this. You will be blown away that you're going to be debt-free in under 2 years, maybe as quick as a year.
Oh, wow.
But you're going to have no life during that time. You understand that?
Yeah, and we just... You
don't have a life anyway. You don't spend money.
Yeah, we take cheap vacations and kind of, nickel and dime things.
But what if you did nothing except pay on debt for 1 year, and you made 160? Oh, by the way, you said you had 150, but we just put 30 or 40 on it, so you got 110 now. I mean, how quick can you pay off 110 if you didn't do anything else? You might do it in a year.
Yeah, we could probably get rid of it real fast.
Yeah. And see, then you got the whole rest of your life to become wealthy without that stinking Sally Mae in your spare bedroom.
Yeah.
That's what we teach,
What do you
dude.
think about, because the more we talk about it, the more we think of, we don't have any investments.
You'll get your investments. You're going to be making $200 and something thousand a year and no debt. You'll be able to invest like a maniac.
All right. Well, I told my wife I'd call and ask, but I think everything you're saying, she said you would say. And
I think she set you up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Hang on. I'm going to give you a gift. I want the two of you to go through Ramsey Plus, our Financial Peace University, and I'm going to give you Ramsey Plus membership for a year, because you guys have got real potential if you'll follow what we're teaching. I'm going to give it to you free. Won't cost you a thing. I just expect you to watch the dadgum videos and go do what we teach. I want you to win, dude. Hold on. It's our late wedding gift to you. Kelly will pick up. Have a friend or family member that needs a daily dose of Ramsey advice in their life? Let them know about the Ramsey Call. This is The Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Dollar Car Rental Studios, it's The Ramsey Show, where debt is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. I'm Dave Ramsey, your host. Thank you for jumping in, America. This is your show. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Ken Coleman, Ramsey personality, #1 best-selling author, and host of the new book, From Paycheck to Purpose, The Clear Path to Doing Work You Love, is my co-host today. So we'll take your questions about your life, your career, your job, which he talks about on the Ken Coleman Show every day on 75 radio stations, a podcast, and YouTube. And we'll take them right here as well. And we'll talk about your life and your money. Free call at 888-825-5225. Christy is with us in Asheville, North Carolina. Hi, Christy. How are you?
Hey, Dave. I'm good. Thank you so much for taking my call.
Sure. What's up?
First, I wanted to say thank you because just going through your program, we are debt-free, including our home.
Yay!
And thank you. Yes. So we're doing step 4, and we're about to start step 5. Our daughter is 7 years old, and we're trying to decide between the 529 or the ESA, and kind of leaning towards the ESA because by the time she's 18, that'll probably be enough because we don't want to put too much and, pay for stupidity. So just kind of wanted your opinion on the differences.
Okay. All right. Well, to clarify, if your home is paid for, you're at baby step 7. And so now you're saving, you're continuing to save for retirement, continuing to save for college, but this is all just wealth building. Baby step 7 is just become wealthy and outrageously generous. So if you have an emergency fund, you're 100% debt-free house and everything, you're at baby step 7. But anyway, the ESA and the 529 are kissing cousins, obviously. They're very similar. ESA is Educational Savings Account. It is only one thing. It is only $2,000 a year, and it is only for people that make less than $200,000 a year household income, and it only grows tax-free, and there is no tax deduction for what you put into it. And so if you put a mutual fund into an ESA, it's going to grow tax-free for the number of years, and you can put up to $2,000 per year into that. And that's it. Very simple, very cut and dried. It can't be anything else. 529 has a bunch of things under that heading, a lot of which we don't recommend. For instance, prepaid college plans with some of the states are technically 529 plans. There's another kind of 529 that locks in the investments, and they're frozen. You can't move them once you pick them. They're fixed the entire time. No flexibility. Bad 529. There's another kind of 529 that's a life phase, where they move the investments to more conservative investments, less risky investments as the child ages automatically. I don't want you to do that. I want you to manage the money. Okay? The only kind of 529 we have is where you pick the mutual funds, just like you do in the ESA, so they're just alike like that. You invest in them and you completely control them. They will not move unless you move them. And no one else is going to do it for you, and you're in charge. Okay, just like the ESA. Now, so once you've done that, if it's that kind of 529, the differences in the 529 and the ESA are not many. Both are after-tax investments. Both grow tax-free. Both allow you to control and move the investments inside of them as many times as you need to, and within the mutual fund families particularly is a great idea. Okay, so all of that's the same. You do not have an income limit of household income limit of $200,000 on the 529, and you are not limited to the $2,000 per year. Most 529s allow up to $10,000 a year, some even more. So if you want to put more money in, or you make a little more money, that type of 529 does exactly the same thing, but allows you to put in a little bit more and deal with a little bit more. Or if you're playing catch up and you make $300,000 a year, you want to dump some money in, that's fine. But if you got a baby and you make under $200,000 and you can drop $2,000 a year into it, you're gonna be just fine. You're gonna have a lot of money. You have $150,000 probably in there. But if it's in a good mutual fund, by the time that baby's 18, and like you said, that's enough to start making some really good choices. You're probably gonna have some other wealth if you want to add to it, and you're gonna be in really, really good shape. So very well done. It's an interesting discussion, and it's great to get ahead of it, isn't it, Ken?
It really is, because when you start to think about, if any investing advice or thinking about, putting money away and watching that compound, it doesn't have to be a lot. And that's a wonderful example on how you can, $150,000 for one kid is more than enough for any kind of quality education that you're looking at today.
I don't know about 20 years from now.
Well, that's a great point. That's a whole nother discussion.
Yeah. Well, and it's a good discussion to have.
It really is.
Because higher education, I think it has problems.
It's very susceptible right now. There's no question.
I think this idea that they just get to keep raising the price forever is over.
I do think that is over. I think you're going to see the cost of it. I think you're going to see a splintering. I think you're going to see more and more organizations training people for the jobs at hand. Google's already doing this. They've come out, and it's very, very clear move into the marketplace. And you're going to see other large companies come alongside of them. So that should be plenty of money, we hope. I think it will be. But that is a separate prediction and conversation. But the cost of college and higher ed is going to have to be reckoned with, because I think this student loan, of course, we got this great documentary coming out, Borrowed Future. It's going to absolutely punch all this right in the face. And I hope, tip the domino. I believe Borrowed Future, our documentary, could be, Dave, the tipping point that finally, I believe, we make this a more mainstream conversation.
Yeah. We all are pretty much in agreement that the student loan program is an epic failure.
Absolutely.
We're all pretty much in agreement that this unfettered flow of money out of Washington to these universities has caused them to, without reservation, raise price after price after price after price after price. So the supply of cash has driven the price up unbelievably. Yeah. And then you add to that, the pandemic comes along, and now they want to charge just as much for you sitting at home.
That's right.
Now there's no football games.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, now there is. But I mean, now there's no campus experience.
No, nothing.
Now there's no this, or you've got all this woke stuff and other stuff going on to the point they're not even going for education anymore. Now we're going for the cultural experience.
Right.
And nobody wants to pay $200,000 for that anymore.
No. And the swollen endowments, right? We got all this money sitting over here, and we're not helping kids that need some financial aid. The narrative is just really snowballing poorly.
Yep. Yeah, it's not going to go well for higher ed. And I'm not against higher ed.
No, we are not. No, we are not.
We're proponents of it. But I want you to be sure and check out Borrowed Future. It's going to be anywhere that you want to plug in to see a paid documentary. You'll be able to watch it. It's coming out in October, the 13th. 13th, I believe it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Hope that's a Friday.
No, correction. Do we have that right? Yeah.
What is it? What are you saying? 14.
Okay, good.
Okay, good. Close enough. You'll be able to find it right there in the middle of October.
Yes, sir.
Borrowed Future. It's a big premiere. We did a whole thing here the other day with it. The whole team watched it, and it will make you so angry when you see how nasty these people are behind the scenes. This is The Ramsey Show.
If you're considering a career in technology, I recommend Bethel Tech, and I'm not alone. Here's what Brendan said. Before Bethel Tech, I was driving Uber. Within 4 months of graduating, I got a job paying $60,000. About 2 years after that, I got a remote job that pays me $130,000, all thanks to what I learned at Bethel Tech. You could be next. Get started today at betheltech.net and get $1,000 to $2,500 off of your tuition. Again, it's betheltech.net/Ken Coleman.
Ken Coleman's new book is From Paycheck to Purpose, The Clear Path to Doing Work You Love. Ken, this is more than just climbing the career ladder. This is more than just making more money.
Yeah, this is about income and impact. Everybody wants to make a difference in this world. We just do. It doesn't matter where you're from, what you believe, your politics. It doesn't matter. Everybody wants to make a difference. And there is this worldview of work that says, I just work to be able to get a paycheck, to be able to live. That's the provision piece. But you and I know that there's contribution. And that's what that title in 4 words really outlines. The provision is the paycheck, but purpose is the contribution. And this is a 7-stage clear path is what this book is about, that not only helps you figure out what meaningful work is, what work that I love to do is, what is this work I was born to do, this contribution I was created to make. It only helps you there, but then it walks you through the journey. It's not just get clear, it's then get qualified. How do you get qualified the right way for less money, but gets me into the door? How do I get connected so opportunities show up and knock on my door? How do I start? Where do I start the right place so that I'm on the right ladder? How do I get promoted? That bigger shovel. Hello, more money, more impact. How do I get the dream job? And then what? What does it mean to give ourselves away? That's just a real quick, pass through the 7 stages, but it is a clear path that shows you what you could do and tells you that you should do it. And it demystifies this climb that so many people think. And, I was just thinking for a moment when I talk about this, why did I write this book and how does this play into the money game that we talk about? I've never once, now I'm sure there's been one or two, but I've never once in my time here, 7 years at Ramsey Solutions, heard a debt-free scream where the income did not go up on some level. And there's more to it than just, we were getting after it and we were trying to hustle through it. There was a vision. And that's what drove everything else. The intensity, the gazelle intensity is about the vision that baby steps give. And this idea of working for purpose, it's more than just income. And we can help you get the bigger shovel and move up. But more importantly, we want you to do work that you love so that when you get to the end of your life, Dave, you look back and you reminisce on the impact you made. You don't regret that you just worked for a paycheck. And that's what this is about.
Yeah, this is a lifelong guide.
Yeah, this isn't
a
quick
just,
thing.
You need a better job.
No,
this is not this is going to walk with you the whole way, building your career, helping you step through the leadership ladder, making an impact, coming home and going. Because what satisfies you and rings your purpose bell today won't 10 years from now.
That's correct. Your vision grows.
I've always run Ramsey for 30 years based on purpose. Mm-hmm. But my purpose has evolved and changed as I've done that, for sure.
That's right.
And so that would be true in any career path. I'm no different than anybody else in that regard.
Yep.
So if you pre-order today, the book will come out November the 9th. And we will ship them to you to where they're on your doorstep that day. You're going to get also the Get Promoted bonus pack. $20 for the book, and it includes over $100 worth of stuff. Now, here's what comes free. The Get Promoted audio lesson from Ken, the DISC assessment, and from the Paycheck to from Paycheck to Purpose live event, and a 30-day free trial to Ramsey Plus and more. And over $100 worth of free stuff total to get you started and get you set apart from the competition. RamseySolutions.com to pre-order the copy of the new book, From Paycheck to Purpose. Only $20. Again, street date on this is November the 9th. Our question of the day comes from Blinds.com. Find out for yourself why Blinds.com is the #1 online retailer of custom window coverings. They do a great job. That's it. They have free samples, free shipping. The new promos they run all the time, you'll save even more. Use the promo code Ramsey to get the best possible deal.
Sorry, Dave.
Go ahead.
Rules and restrictions apply. Cut him off, folks.
That's
I was so excited to get to Amy's question from Kansas. I applied for a job with a salary range of $16 to $18 an hour, which would be a raise from what I'm making now. I went to the interview, and I know I did well. They looked up how much I should get paid for the job based on my credentials, and it came out to about $25 an hour. I'm afraid that their budget may get in the way of me being considered for the opening. This job is very specialized, and it's not something everyone can do. What I should be paid disqualify me from getting the job? So what Amy's asking here is hey, they looked it up, and they think I'm going to want $25 an hour, but the 16,
or they think
18,
you're not going to stay because you're going to get $25 an hour.
That's right. So what do I do? So here's the deal. It shouldn't keep you from getting the job, Amy, if you communicate properly. And the fact that they've already told you, well, we think it's $25 an hour is what you could make. You got to go, hey, it was advertised at 16, 18, or that's what you told me, and I'm thrilled to jump in at 18. I'm ready to go, or whatever they offer. I want to prove myself. I want to grow. I want to do this work. Don't let that bother you. I think this is a good fit. You got to communicate that, and I think that humility, but just straight up honesty that you want the gig, and tell them why you want the gig. Don't let their worries and their fears, or what you think may be their worries and fears, fit into this. You just tell them, I want the gig, and I'll be thrilled to take the gig. So keep it simple.
And here's the thing. My kids years ago, there's 1,000 years ago, they were teenagers, it feels like. But they had this thing, what they did, and they called it awkward turtle, right? and that was if a conversation is awkward.
Yeah.
What do you do? Oh, this is awkward. It's an awkward moment, right?
Right.
And, that's what this is.
That's exactly right.
And the best way for the elephant in the room to magically disappear is to say, there's an elephant in the room.
Great. It's so true.
Poof.
Yeah.
He goes away.
Yeah.
Here's the elephant. You guys looked it up, and this job pays $25 an hour. You don't have the budget for that. You're afraid I'm going to leave because somebody's going to offer me $25 an hour. I'm saying I'm not doing that. I'm taking the job. You need to hire me. This is a done deal. Quit your fretting.
Yeah.
You say that, poof.
Yeah. There's nothing to be tense about here.
Yeah.
Yeah, just humble and honest.
The only question is whether they believe you on that or not. But here's the thing. People are paying some ridiculous figures for jobs for people to move now. I'm hearing just some bizarre numbers on things out there just to get human beings to show up to work.
Yeah, it's going to blow their mind when you tell them you want the gig.
Yeah.
They're going to look at you like you got horns growing out of your head. You know, we get in trouble sometimes. I've been married 23 years, coming up on 24 years. And the biggest trouble I've ever gotten into, Dave, with Stacy, is when I try to assume or try to anticipate what she's thinking as opposed to just talking to her plainly or asking her questions. When I try to anticipate or try to analyze something that's not there, boy, we get this thing all worked up on our head and it's not that big a deal. Just tell them, I want the gig.
There's so much low-hanging fruit here that I could come with. There's no way that you could know what's in Stacy's head because it's way smarter than yours. That comes to mind as an
That's just
example.
one item. You're absolutely right. That's just one of the myriad of reasons why I shouldn't do it.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
No, I mean, the thing is, if something is weird, stressful, the demons around this, they don't like light.
Yeah.
And when you shine light on it, they run for the corners. The roaches run for the corners as soon as you turn the lights on.
Yep.
And awkward conversations have that sense to them that, this is a difficult thing for me to cover.
Yeah.
This is a hard thing for us to talk about. This is a weird thing for us to talk about. But by talking about it, it loses all of its power.
So true. Yeah. And many times what we think is going to be awkward for us isn't awkward for the other party. So just be an adult. Have a good posture, a good spirit about you. And as you said, Dave,
if I was in
address
your
it.
shoes, I might be thinking she's going to leave and take the $25
take
as soon
it
as
out of
somebody
the,
offers
I
it.
love that.
And so why do I want to put her in there only to lose her in just a few months? I want you to know I've already thought about that, and I plan on staying, and I'd be honored to take this position. I would like to know how I can even add more value over time to where I could make $25, but you'd be happy to pay me that because I made you $50.
That's correct.
So, I mean, that kind of a conversation is really powerful. And
yeah.
as a follow-up after an interview, that would be pretty strong.
Yeah, they'll be in a hurry to sign you.
I think so.
Yeah.
This is The Ramsey Show. In the lobby of Ramsey Solutions on the debt-free stage, Evan and Liz are with us. Hey, guys, how are you?
Hi, Dave.
Doing great, Dave.
Welcome. Where do y'all live?
We are just north of Detroit in Michigan.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, like Rochester or?
Ferndale. So
Ferndale,
between Rochester and
right there.
Detroit.
Perfect. Cool. Well, good to have you guys. Welcome to Nashville. And to do a debt-free scream, how much have you paid off?
$93,000 in 27 months.
Hey, good numbers. And your range of income during that time?
We started around 80 and finished around 130.
Good. What do you guys do for a living?
Liz works in the home, and I work in systems administration, a lot of automation, PowerShell, that kind of thing.
Cool.
IT, computers.
I can tell.
That.
Yeah. That kind of stuff, yeah.
So I got to ask real quick, what led to the big jump here? That's a big jump.
Yeah. I mean, we got gazelle intense. At some point during our journey, we got to the point where we couldn't scrape any more off the budget and had to just get a bigger shovel. So
how'd you increase your income 50 grand?
Yeah, I know. It sounds crazy. Certifications and a mixture of that and getting the right job. Just found
You changed jobs?
Employers. So just working my way up,
Beautiful.
getting
So you
certifications.
got qualified and you got promoted.
Very good.
There you go. Nice. Good work.
Wow.
And he got the old company to pay for the certification. They paid for some furthering education, and then he leveraged that
Wow.
into his new position.
Very good. Well, those certs are very valuable, obviously. Well done. Good for you guys. What kind of debt was the 93?
Oh, a little bit of everything, but mostly student loans.
Student loans, overwhelmingly student loans.
How much of it was student loans?
I'd say 85.
Oh, wow. Hardly anything else, yeah.
Yes. We had
Okay.
a tiny car loan, a tiny medical loan.
Yeah. How long y'all been married?
9 years.
Yeah.
Going on
Okay.
10.
Yeah.
What happened 27 months ago, 2 years and some change?
Yeah, we finally had the I've had it moment that you've talked about, where we were making very decent money, and all of a sudden all of it was going out the door to other people, and it didn't make a lot of sense to us to keep that around. So we listened to your book on a road trip, or I did for work, and it just made sense. It clicked. It was within like spitting distance. Oh, we could do this. Like, it's not this far off thing that like only superheroes can do. Like, we can just make this happen.
Wow, that's a good line.
I love that. Yeah, there's some depth there.
This is not just for superheroes. We can do this.
Yes.
And you are superheroes, by the way, but just the same. So you came home from the road trip and say, Liz, I've been listening to audiobooks.
No, I said we should sign up for Financial Peace.
Oh. And she said?
Well, we had heard about it before, but our good friends at our church, he was leading the class, and I was like, fine, I'll do it.
Oh, that made
with
it
Greg.
okay.
And so then we took the class together, and I felt like for the first time in our marriage, we were really aligned on what our plan was going to be.
Yeah.
Financial Peace University. Your friend is teaching it. You joined the class.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm always interested in this. I mean, I've been doing this for 30 years, but it's always intriguing to me because I know how my brain works when I'm going into something like that. I walk into that class, I've got all of my cynical shields up. I mean, cynicism is a spiritual gift for me. I mean, it's just like, I'm thinking this is greasy, this is slimy, this guy's trying to get my money, and I'm going to be pretty cynical. You might not have been that jaded, but you still have to not know what it never is what you think it's going to be. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You think it's one thing, but it was something else. What were you thinking it was going to be, and what was it?
I think for me, I thought it was going to be kind of this like health, wealth, prosperity, like just trying to make yourself rich for the sake of making yourself rich. And I think what really sold me was your vision of generosity to people, that it just had, it's not just about you, it's so that you can help others. And I used to be a teacher in Detroit before we had kids, and so I just felt like that really resonated with me of this is an important way to get our situation together so that we can do more of what we want to do for other people. So, yeah.
Yeah,
that does change it. That changes the nobility of it to say it's about others, and because it is.
Yeah.
But it changes the spirit on how you're going. And so you just come home from the first class and say, "Game on, we're doing it," huh?
Yeah. I mean, it was overwhelming at first. When we ran our initial numbers, I think it was like, in 5 years at this trajectory, then we'll be debt free. And but we just saw the Lord's faithfulness, I think, every month, just like paying off more than we even anticipated we'd be able to pay off in little ways. And so I think that motivated us. And as we saw on our spreadsheet, the time kept decreasing and decreasing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, Evan, it's fun when spreadsheets quit working. It's going faster than we thought.
Yeah.
This is going good.
Yeah.
It builds up emotional, psychological, spiritual momentum.
Yep, absolutely.
Yep, 100%.
Wow. I want to ask you this. You just talked about that overwhelming, it's just so much to take in, right?
Yeah.
And you go home and you put the first plan together 5 years. Boy, that feels like forever, right? But at some point, you get to that class, and I'm just wondering how much the community of other people going through it help you not be so overwhelmed with the climb. You're not alone. Speak to that and what that felt like going through it with other people.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the transformation in our marriage was we were at a point where we both felt like we were dealing with finances separate. And then all of a sudden we started having these conversations. And I think the same thing happened within our community at church where we're not having to deal with the separate struggles.
Yeah.
But now we're very open with our numbers. We just televised our numbers
Right.
to everybody, right? We can be open with that. We can say, hey, we struggled. Hey, we never talked about finances the first 8 years of our marriage, first 7 years of our marriage, and it wasn't good. Like, we didn't have shared values. We didn't have these shared things. And I feel like it opens a avenue of vulnerability that I think we all kind of need.
That's powerful.
Yeah. And I think a sense of freedom that you're not defined by this. Like, it's okay. This doesn't define who you are as a person. And
there's no stain on you. There's a brighter future.
Yeah. Removes the shame.
Yeah.
That's good. Way to go, guys.
Thanks.
Heroes, man. Look at you. How's it feel to be free?
Amazing.
So good. Was
it worth the sacrifice?
It was worth it, and worth it for our kids, and we have hope for them for the future. So we're really.
What was the weirdest thing you did to cut spending down to nothing?
I don't know about cutting spending. We lived really minimally, but he did some funky things for side gigs before he got the job promotion.
Okay.
Yeah. I think the weirdest thing was scorekeeping at a table hockey tournament one weekend for like a cool $100.
Scorekeeper.
Yeah. Craigslist, man.
No, not just scorekeeper. Tabletop hockey.
Yes.
Yeah, that is
very
This
intense.
is like on your resume right here, man.
Yeah.
I love it. That's fun.
Lots of little things.
Done.
Yeah.
Score.
Wow.
Ding, ding. I love it. Yeah.
By the way, don't call us and tell us there's not a way to make extra money. The man made $100.
Scorekeeping for tabletop air hockey. Yeah. This is awesome. I love you guys.
Yeah.
You're my kind of folk. I like that. Well done. Hey, we got a copy of The Legacy Journey for you. That's the copy. That's the next chapter in your story. Moving on to Baby Step Millionaires. You're on your way without a doubt. And congratulations. We're very, very proud of you. Also, a copy of Total Money Makeover for you to give away to somebody, get them started. Like that audio book got you hooked, and then you end up in Financial Peace University, and now you end up here $93,000 lighter. All right, it's Evan and Liz, Detroit, Michigan area, $93,000 paid off in 27 months, making 80 to 130. Count it down. Let's hear a debt-free scream.
3, 2, 1.
We're debt-free! They did it.
Yes.
Love it. Their church and their group at Financial Peace, everybody cheering them on. That's amazing.
Yes.
Well done. Good community. You got to have people around you loving you well. This is The Ramsey Show. Our scripture of the day, Proverbs 22:3, the prudent see danger and take refuge, but the simple keep going and pay the penalty. Dale Carnegie said, be more concerned with your character than with your reputation. Your character is what you really are, while your reputation is merely what others think you are. In a social media age, Ken, that is a good thing right there to read again.
Yes, it is.
Be more concerned with your character than with your reputation.
Yeah.
Your character is what you really are, while your reputation is merely what others think you are.
Yeah.
There you go. Just like that.
Turns out, Dave, too, that when you actually are a person of character, your reputation's really good.
Most of the time. Generally.
Yeah.
But with social media, they...
You mean it can take out? Yeah, sure.
Yeah. People take shots that aren't true.
But those that
about
actually
you,
know
about me, about this place,
Yeah, but a stranger doesn't get to say what they think Dave Ramsey's reputation is, in my opinion. Stranger who doesn't know you. I discount that. You know, they got to know you. Anybody that knows you, friends, people that work closely with you, you have a reputation. That is what everybody hears and says out there. Very different. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay, that makes sense.
You know,
okay.
When you're a person of character, your reputation with the right people takes care of itself.
Yeah, I got you. Okay. Tyler with the ones that matter. Yeah.
Yes.
Tyler's in State College, Pennsylvania. Hi, Tyler. How are you?
Hey, Dave. Doing great. How about you?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
Yeah, so my question is related to business and checking accounts. I'm a business owner. I've always operated my business out of a business checking account along with a business debit card. As the business scaled up over the years, my expenses are becoming a little bit higher and more frequent, and my current card only has a $2,500 limit, and each time that I go above that, I got to call into the bank, and each time they're really pressing me on the business credit card. And just today when I went to do it, they actually denied it altogether and weren't going to let me do it unless I upgraded to their business credit card. So I guess my question is, what do you recommend that? Like, how are you running your business, being like a multi-million-dollar business and all that? What's your recommendation there?
It's time to change banks, dude.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. See, they got confused about who the customer is. The customer was sitting in front of them telling them what he wanted, and they start putting demands on you on how you're going to use your money in order to have the privilege of doing business with these doofuses. I'm out of there. Man, the spirit on that is pitiful.
Yeah.
I don't care. Even if it wasn't in violation of what I teach, just the way they treated you today, dude.
Right.
That's what I'm talking about. So here's what we've had to do. We've got, I think, Lord, I've lost count because I don't keep up with it daily anymore. I used to be real concerned with it, but I'm not anymore. I think we've got 150 people carrying debit cards out of our 1,000. And a whole bunch of others that have access to the numbers in order to do orders with, around here for business purposes. So, we've got a bunch of them. I obviously have a business debit card on this place, and the revenues here are north of $300 million a year. So I have low tolerance for trying to use that card and it not buying whatever the flip I want it to buy. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, so we've had discussions with the business banking unit here and said, look, my card, you can put $10,000, $20,000 limit on it. The number of times I'm going to buy a car on a card is zero anyway. So I don't really have anything. I don't buy stuff like that all the time. But I also don't want to not have access to money when I've got millions of dollars in your bank. That will piss me off because of your little debit card rules. But so we've had on my personal debit card from the business, had them give us special dispensation. They should do that for you. And $2,500 is ridiculous. It ought to be at least $5,000. And you can look at it, and you'll probably be surprised the number of times you go above $5,000 unless you're doing a bunch of travel or something is unusual anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. So unusually low. So you need to change banks based on that spirit. But we've got different people inside this. But for instance, if one of our live event producers is going to book a block of rooms. We're going into a Hyatt and we're going to take down 150 rooms and they want a card. Well, obviously, a daily limit is going to be a problem on that. So, and that's how we use our debit cards here. So we have some interaction with the bank on a regular basis, but we also have higher than normal limits on some of the daily amounts and total amounts on the cards. Obviously, the cash has to be in the account to cover it, which is a debit card. That's not what we're discussing here. But I think more than anything else, what you're discovering is you have a bank that doesn't understand your value as a customer, and you need to find one that does value you. By the way, we did change banks, and one of the reasons was the old bank that I'd been with for 1,000 years got bought up a bunch of stuff and became much more corporatized and became inflexible, even with an account our size. They started giving us a hard time on all kinds of different things, and we're just like, you know what? I'm not negotiating with you people. You're just a flipping bank. I mean, there's one on every corner. There's a lot of them would like to have our account. A lot of them like to have your account, Tyler. I'd go get somebody else. What are you thinking?
I think you're absolutely right. It's your money, and these are somebody made a decision on the 5th or 6th or 15th or 25th floor, and I think the spirit is absolutely, it's wrong. They don't want to help you grow. They just got their rules, and I'd take off. I'd go talk to some other bank and go, hey, here's the deal. Here's what I'm looking for. And look them in the eye and interview them. Interview banks just like you would, like one of our ELPs.
I'm getting ready to hire you for my banking services.
Yeah, I'm a small business.
Are you good enough?
Yeah, stay out of my way. Can you let me do my thing? If so, I'll bring my money to you.
What's happening is this. That guy's dealing with a branch manager who's got pressure on him to meet the quota that he has to move a certain number of credit cards, a certain number of business credit cards a month, and he's got people breathing down his neck. He's got a quota like he's selling encyclopedias door to door.
That's exactly right.
And these bankers have been reduced to used car salesmen.
Yeah,
used car salesmen are much better people. And so, sorry about that, used car guys. You guys are excellent compared. But, I mean, they've been reduced to salespeople that have quotas. I mean, if you work in Victoria's Secret and you don't sell a lot of small underwear, that's not what they gauge you on. You can sell no small underwear and work at Victoria's Secret as long as you sell their credit card, because that's what they want. They want you charging small underwear.
Okay, I didn't know where we were going with this. I was waiting to see where this.
I'm just telling you, this is.
It is. It's all about the credit
card. They are in the credit card business. There just happens to be a thong involved.
Retailers.
I mean, it's just there's just nothing there. It's the same thing with most of these companies.
Yeah.
You go in a department store. Why do you think they're pushing the card on you? They make more money on that than they do the stinking merchandise that's just sitting on their shelves.
It's become that credit card game.
And that's what these guys are doing at this stupid bank here.
Yeah.
This bank deserves a good firing.
I like it.
You're fired.
Yeah. Plenty of banks, by the way. I tell you what, I would go interview the smaller banks.
What do you want to bet? It's Bank of America. I'll just bet you. I should have asked him.
Yeah.
I'll bet you it's Bank of America. That's the way they act.
It's a big bank or bigger.
Yeah. It's not a small local bank. Small local bank would actually care what you think.
Yep.
And that's what you need to go with, by the way. Get you a good regional bank or small local bank.
That's what I think too.
We moved to a local. This is what we did, and they can handle us. I mean, we got a lot of money over there, but they can handle it. So it's not like we're like Jed Clampett and Mr. Drysdale or something, but y'all don't even know who that is out there.
Do.
You poor people in America.
Sadly, I do.
Your television deficit. You don't know about the Beverly Hillbillies.
I feel so happy right now that you just said Mr. Drysdale. Kelly's feeling the same thing. We're the same age. We're not going to say the age so Kelly doesn't hit me after the show's over. I know, you're a little bit older, but Mr. Drysdale, that is classic TV right there.
That's classic. I mean, that's a banker who was beholden to the rich oil baron, Jed Clampett and the Beverly Hillbillies, okay? Yes. And he ran around all the time trying to make his customer happy.
That's what you want.
It's been since the 1950s and 60s with black and white TV since bankers understood what their freaking job was.
That's so good.
And it's not to sell you a credit card.
That's so good.
It was to make you, the depositor, happy.
Yes.
Oh, man. What a lost world we live in.
I know. I'm going to go home and watch the Beverly Hillbillies. It's got to be on somewhere.
I've had 2 references to them in 3 hours. So.
You have? Have you seen a show lately?
No.
When you were channel surfing?
I'm having flashbacks.
Okay.
From my childhood. That's all it is. It's an old man thing. It's old man flashbacks. Ken Coleman, good job today. Good job, James Childs. Good job, Kelly Daniels in the booth. I am Dave Ramsey. We'll be back with you before you know it. In the meantime, remember, there's ultimately only one way to financial peace, and that's to walk daily with the Prince of Peace, Christ Jesus.
Hey, it's Kelly, associate producer and phone screener for The Ramsey Show. If you would like to do your debt-free scream live on the show, make sure you visit theramseyshow.com and register. We would love for you to come to Nashville and tell Dave your story.